by word and wonder. My name. Remember it well.
Hello, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. In all the years that I have been working with the goddess, I don't know why it hasn't fully hit me until now. But, every time I look back, it turns out everything pretty much happens when it's supposed to happen, right? As you can tell by the title, I'm going to talk about manifesting with the goddess. If you've been following me for a while, as I've said, I have worked with a lot of different traditions, a lot of different deities, gods and goddesses. But I stepped on what's called the goddess-based path a number of years ago, and it includes the god and the goddess, and there's supposed to be representations on the altar. Now, I didn't always have a statue or a picture of a god or a goddess. I didn't choose a pantheon at that time. So in my mind, it was the idea of bringing in the goddess for me, which I never had. This is the consort. This is the consort of the Lord, the consort of the God. In the Old English practice, which I guess eventually became Wicca, there's the Celtic path, there's a Druidic tradition. All of that relates to me. And in it, of course, there is the Lord and the Lady, the God and the Goddess. Because out of those two things is creation into the physical, manifestation into the physical. But from the God, the last piece of that puzzle is the goddess. There's a lot of things that are wrong with modern society. And it is because it has forgotten that everything ultimately is born from this energy, a feminine divine. Birth relates to feminine divine, okay? Now, when I tried to talk about this concept with my sister's husband back in the day, he said, well, I think nature can be masculine. I said, okay, how so? How are things birthed into reality, into physical reality from the masculine? I don't remember what exactly his argument was, but I said, the earth is the womb. The seeds may be representation of the masculine, but they have to be nurtured by water and some sun, but mostly water is what's required. And it is birthed and bloomed from the womb of the earth. I don't know if he didn't have anything to say after that, or he just said, well, it could be both. I'm sorry, that's all I have is laughter. Let's talk about money, okay? People are so concerned with money. There's lots of other resources that we can get where you don't have to have the cash. Resources that come that's the end result sometimes, right? You need a car, maybe someone gives you a car. You need food, maybe there's a food banquet close by where you can go and get some food. Do you see what I mean? And this is not about looking for free resources. I've talked about poverty consciousness. I've talked about the mindset of being a cheater. And I've talked about, well, I've talked about the goddess being a very important idea that needs to return to society. Let's talk about resources. Let's talk about money. I am a mystic. I always try to get ready, and it takes me a while, guys. It takes me anywhere from an hour to 3 hours total, depending on what all I have to do, color my hair, do my makeup, and decide what I'm going to wear. So I'm trying to represent more of the feminine divine. Sometimes as women get single and we're working to learn how to manifest things in our life, we lose touch with our femininity. Some women become masculine, they become more and more masculine, and they think that's the way to be because we're basically in a patriarchal society. The goddess has been cut out. But as I have been on the temple path, which is Sanatana Dharma, Hinduism, and I have embraced and been part of events that celebrate the goddess. Sorry, the girls are active and they're bumping the ring light. I have, excuse you, gotten more in touch with working with goddesses. And I've had to go back in my mind and look at the times that I've worked with the goddess. Guys, this is not just for women. I'm telling you, if you start to embrace the goddess, if you've seen things manifest, when you work with things that are feminine, that correspond with things that are feminine, think about it. Keep notes. Women have the power to manifest. Women have the power to create. And it's not just babies. So last year I went to a Lakshmi ceremony, very big, very long, couple of hours. I ended up crying. It was incredibly wonderful. I was very, very touched. And I've talked about this. I never really had a mother. My mother turned me into her mother. And I've gone back in my mind and thought about when I decided to work with a goddess. Now, I've talked about the goddess Astarte, who's actually helped me manifest money through another female. She's also taught me about the stars and the constellations. This is not an evil deity. I don't care what anybody says. Those people have not worked through their junk, okay, to get to a point where they're ready to tap into the correspondences of the ancient goddess. The demonization of ancient goddesses is really where it began. All right, so Hinduism goes back very, very far. I've said 7,000 to 10,000 years in previous videos. Maybe more. It is said that the creation comes from the goddess mind, the goddess energy, and they have a name for her. God is a woman in Hinduism. Now, this is not to cut out the masculine. It's not. That probably got misunderstood by, I don't know, some jealous men, I guess. But when you understand that if you want to create and you want to really manifest into the physical what it is you need, there has to be the feminine energy there as well. Now, I have manifested with the help of Ganesha, but as I have stated in my previous videos, Ganesha was created by a woman. He was birthed from the mud by Parvati, a woman. She didn't give birth to him from her human body. She created. So anything that anybody creates is working in the energy of the goddess, the creation energy, the goddess creating things into the physical. Now, this is also a healing energy. And it's very protective. Ganesha may have a healing ability to shrink the hippocampus, or open the hippocampus and shrink the amygdala, but Parvati created him. Let's give credit to both, okay? But let's bring back the goddess and recognize, if we really want to start creating and manifesting, it's birthed out of the feminine. When I look at the Shiva Lingam, and this is what's making it more and more clear to me, right? It's not only that things are birthed out of both, but it is given life through the representation of the womb. The yoni is the representation of the womb and the canal, and all of the mixtures that you put on the Shiva Lingam are coming out and into the physical. It is birthed from the womb. This is a representation, a spiritual, a metaphor, right? For what happens from the spirit realm into the physical. It's a trickle-down system from the spiritual to the physical. Anything that I create is a creation energy. It's a goddess energy. And the more that you work within this, and the more that you get in touch with it and embrace it and use it and do it, whether you play music or you paint, you are expressing that. And I know a lot of men have been given a lot of guff for that, right? They've been called names. My father's first instrument that he really loved to play was the piano. And unfortunately, he was called a sissy by his uncle many, many years ago. It hurt him deeply. He was also interested in the saxophone and the flute, so he took up those instruments and he did very, very well. But then he got tuberculosis, and so he had to go back to the piano, and he didn't care what anybody said. He found out that there were other men, lots of other men who played the piano. We still have that kind of ignorance today. Now, for women, it's sometimes confusing to embrace their femininity. When I was younger, I was a girly girl. And I've always loved anything and everything that was attractive and pretty, and I wanted to be as, as sparkly and and pretty as I possibly could. I just thought it was a really, really nice thing to be. That's femininity, okay? If you look at the Hindu goddesses, they wear makeup. so that you are for sure that they are a woman. But the makeup enhances the features of the woman. The cats act like I never feed them. Can you stop, please? I'm busy working. You know that. My cats represent the feminine divine. They really do. I have that feminine energy around me all the time. Diamond is the mother. I was with her when she gave birth. Her daughter Jade is a female. We're just a tribe of females around here. lots of, well, I don't really have as much estrogen as I used to. I have to get that artificially put on me. I have to purchase it now. But yeah, some women are afraid to attract too many men. Some women are afraid it's actually a sign of weakness. It is a sign of power. Okay? Your femininity is a power. Your ability to create and perhaps give birth to a child is another power. And there's a woman that I've been following for a while here on YouTube, has become very famous, trying to encourage other women to embrace their femininity and try to look as nice as they can, right? Every day. I see a lot of women, young women, even middle-aged women, that are just walking around in sweatpants and jeans and sneakers, you know, and they just put their hair up in a tight little bun all the time, okay? All the time. And this, it doesn't have anything to do with your station in life. It really doesn't. It's not about trying to prove that you are a woman to anybody. It's for you. And when you embrace that femininity, you start to embrace that power. There's a healing energy that comes with it, okay? The goddess energy is the healer, the healing energy. Men are more about the destructing and the idea, or the seed idea, right? The women then come in and make it, you know, better. They nurture and make things grow. The water represents the feminine divine. This woman on YouTube has been talking for quite a few years, I would say, 7 years that I can recall, on what it means to take care of yourself, to have self-care. It does become much more of a challenge as you mature. But once you've developed a habit and you know what you like and you know what you want to wear and you found your colors and you found your hairstyle, no one should tell you how you should look or how you should dress. I've always liked skirts and dresses that were flowy. But as my life became crazy, stupid, busy, and I was not with the right person, I lost touch with looking like that. He didn't like it. He liked it when I did not have on attractive clothes or makeup. So, you know, I had to secretly prepare myself before we went out so I would look more presentable, and quickly put on eyeliner, mascara, and a little lip gloss. But yeah, you complain, what are you doing? What's taking so long? You don't need that. And it should be understated during the daytime. I don't go out like this to Walmart, okay? This is for camera. I had learned as a young girl, being in the arts, I was in dance, I was in drama, I was in music. When you're on stage and you're under the lights, you have to wear more makeup. And if I forget, people are staring at me. So I pretty much, blot my lips, and a lot of times I'll take off the false eyelashes. But not always. Some women do wear false eyelashes out. But they've basically been... Okay, back to the makeup. The makeup helps people focus on your eyes. There was a girl here on YouTube that went to India, and she said, this is one reason why we wear the makeup. Studies have shown that when people wear their makeup, or the eyeliner or the mascara or the eyelashes, that people will look at their eyes and, listen to them more. And some people have a hard time actually looking into other people's eyes because, they're afraid of connecting to a person who's toxic. But a lot of times when I go to work, I will at least put on some mascara, curl my lashes, put on mascara, so that students will look at my eyes. And yes, my eyes are naturally kind of big, almond-shaped, but it helps to look more awake. It helps me look more awake. They tend to look at me more. They tend to look at my eyes more. So if you want to be listened to more, okay, this is another psychological reason for it. It is an obsession, and I do think it's unhealthy. It's not something that we should be worried about every single day. We're going out to the grocery store to pick up our kids, but we should actually kind of embrace the fact that this is a blank canvas. I used to sit and just play with makeup, all different kinds of makeup looks, avant-garde. I could have gotten into that. Very artistic. My grandmother was an artist. It was fun. To me, it's art. And it's a way for me to express my love of color. And, so this is one thing that this woman here on YouTube, Ashera, Star Goddess, Ashera 7, Ashera Star 7, she's changed her name. And she's actually made a cosmetic company out of it, showing women how to do their makeup every day on her other channel. It's called Level Up. A lot of men that care about their job, their status, their income, their money, they kind of want to have a wife who looks like they have the money to give her to look nice. And this takes us back to giving to the goddess. Men who have a good, healthy sense of themselves like to give to their woman and have her look nice. And it's not so much about, you're looking raggedy. I don't want to be seen with you. I've looked in the mirror sometimes and said the same thing to myself. Who's that? Really, the more mature you become, the more smoke and mirrors it kind of has to be. And the more you have to exercise, right? That's a part of it also. I've tried a variety of things because some things don't work as well as others, and It's an investment. So we have to decide what type of hairstyle we like and we want, we can manage, we can deal with. But embracing yourself, first of all, wear some skirts. I'm going to buy another skirt. I have a little dress I wear around the house. This does require keeping up, the leg, taking the hair off the legs. And we have to learn to set aside that time because then we can wear shorts. In fact, I love skirts. Skirt is a skirt with shorts underneath. Brilliant. Giving to your lady, giving to your woman, being generous is like giving an offering to the goddess. And if she's in her femininity and you want to assist her in going to get her nails done, get her hair done or colored, or get a facial, keep up the tone, muscles in the face or the condition of the skin, go to the sauna, go to the infrared hot sauna and detox the body once a week. And then the man should be doing things like that as well. A man who doesn't want his woman to really look that nice when they go out is really an insecure man. And again, I'm not saying you have to have on a full bead of makeup. It is attracting, and I have to be careful with it. I don't wear red lipstick out during the day. There are certain things that can attract too many guys, that may not necessarily be interested for the right reason. There's a psychology to this, okay? But men who insist that their women do not wear any makeup or be concerned with how they look or what they wear, they have a problem. A man who wants a woman who's, takes care of herself, looks nice, dresses nice, is appreciating her self-respect, her self-esteem and taking care of her body, and having a good feeling for themselves. A lot of women who are very, very tired and run down from having a child and not really having any help find that by taking a few minutes, either in the morning or when the child is taking a nap, sit in front of the mirror and put on some powder or a thin, what do you call those makeups that are really just tinted moisturizers? There you go. Tinted moisturizer. Slap that on. Put some mascara. Put some lip gloss. It's almost like giving yourself a mini facial in about 5 minutes. Spray yourself all over with a setting mist to refresh yourself. It's amazing how much better you will feel. By giving to the woman in your life, you are giving to the goddess. This is what I've been trying to say. And the woman needs to be in touch with her femininity as well. I am not a believer in that when you get a certain age, you have to dress a certain way or chop off your hair. A lot of these things are companies and businesses that are really just trying to get you to buy into whatever it is that they are selling, okay? I've looked to celebrities such as Bette Midler, Goldie Hawn, and Cher. Oh, Dolly Parton. such an inspiration for me. And, you know, there's been a few times in my life when I thought, it's just too much work. But I just feel better when I get back into it. Now, there are times when I'm able to go out without makeup because I've gotten my skin in some really good condition. And so that's another thing that you can look forward to, is once you've gotten your skin into a really good condition, you don't really need to wear hardly any makeup. It's not that you're out trying to attract a guy. It's really not about that. It's about feeling good about yourself and enjoying your femininity. I think this raises your frequency. I do. I think by getting in touch with more spiritual feminine archetypes, deities, and goddesses, you increase your feminine energy. You increase that creative force energy and a healing energy. I know that there are people who can attest to this. They feel better around a woman who is in touch with her femininity. She vibrates at a different frequency. They feel better next to her. They like being around her. If nothing else, it's because she takes pride in herself. She takes care of herself. And it's a habit. You have to figure out what works for you. But in giving to your lady on a regular basis, here, honey, go to the beauty parlor. Here's some money for the week to go get your mani-pedi. Or go to the detox sweatbox spa. This is my first talk on manifesting with the goddess. My battery is running low. There are so many people that are trying to figure out how to manifest, and I have talked primarily about the subconscious mind. But this relates to the moon, and that relates to the goddess. Okay, it relates to water. So, in thinking about the feminine aspect, like with the Shiva Lingam, in offering to the Shiva Lingam, and then everything is birthed out of the canal, we say, after our offering to the Shiva Lingam, we can then ask for what we need, and it can manifest. Not necessarily immediately. Why? Because there is the symbol of birthing into reality, bringing out of the yoni, the womb, into the physical. All that we offered, all that we gave, as we give, so shall we receive, as being birthed out of the canal. This could change relationships, people who embrace this idea and honor the goddess in every way. Okay, and just because this culture honors the goddess doesn't mean they honor their women. I've heard that some of the men in India make their women eat last. Okay, that was a shock. As above, so below. We are the representation of the feminine, divine, and the goddess. So if you want your woman to feel good and take care of herself, don't be depleted, because you can actually be blessed through your work and your endeavors out of the home if you are caring for the goddess in the home. And then if she's also working with the goddess, all the better. If she's stingy and greedy and immature, no, don't give to that. Don't give to that representation of the goddess, but work with the goddess and see what happens. All right. I'll stop here. I am working on my anointing oil for attracting love, romantic love, good friendships. It's called magnetic allure. It's going to take some time for that to infuse. But in the meantime, I think I'm also going to work on a cologne spray. I've got my Ganesha oil that is with sandalwood. So if you have been working on clearing on the waning moon and resting on the dark moon, we are now beginning the phase of the waxing moon. It's time to start working towards manifesting and growing what it is that you want to have. I'm going to talk more on this because the mind power is not just science, okay? Science is nature. Nature is in us and around us. And the goddess needs to be brought back into the mindset of spiritual practices and our relationships and how we interact. All right, namaste, blessed be. Talk to you soon.